When I was younger, television ruled my life. Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney Channel. My TV was usually always turned to one of those stations. But when I hit my teen years, I just sort of stopped watching television, at least religiously. So I never really watched many TV shows aimed at a more mature audience. Sure, I liked South Park and occasionally watched an episode of Family Guy or The Big Bang Theory. But even nowadays, at almost 20 years old, I would rather watch a children's show than most other stuff on TV. And there are some good TV shows from now and from years ago aimed at children that are very good. But nothing's perfect. Some shows have at least one bad episode, and that's what we'll be looking at in this new show, Kids Are Smarter Than This. So what should we look at first? Well, how about an episode from not only my favorite animated TV show, but quite possibly my favorite TV show of all time. Avatar: The Last Airbender. And of all 61 episodes, I would say that 60 of these episodes range from good to phenomenal. But there is one episode that most fans consider the weakest. The 11th episode of the first season, The Great Divide. But is it the weakest episode? Well, yes, it's appearing on the show, but let's find out why it's the weakest. The episode starts with Sokka making their tent and Katara tells him to put up the tarp.
Sokka, you're supposed to put the tarp on top of the tent.
But seeing how it's the dry season, you're not. Besides, that tarp makes a pretty warm blanket.
But what if it does rain?
Sorry, Katara, but I have to agree with Sokka on this one. Even on the off chance that it does rain, you can very easily just go out and put the tarp up. It's not that hard. It would take like 5 seconds. The two have a little argument, leading to Katara hitting Sokka with firewood and Sokka destroying the tent.
Listen, guys. Harsh words won't solve problems. Action will. Why don't you just switch jobs?
Sounds good.
Whatever.
Well, that was unnaturally easy.
Settling feuds and making peace. All in a day's work for the Avatar.
Oh, shut up. The next day, the group makes it to the Grand Canyon ripoff of this universe, The Great Divide.
I could just stare at it forever.
Okay, I've seen enough.
Okay, that was pretty funny. A man runs over and starts yelling at them, and we learn through some bad exposition that he is a refugee and his entire tribe are going to cross the Great Divide and head to Ba Sing Se. This is because the Fire Nation destroyed his home. This could be very dramatic, but I think they play a little too comedic.
Is that your tribe?
It most certainly is not. That's the Zhang tribe, a bunch of low-life thieves. Hey, Zhangs! I'm saving a spot for my tribe, so don't even think of stealing it!
Where are the rest of the Ganjin? Still tidying up their campsite?
Yes.
So yes, these two tribes are complete opposites. The Ganjin are neat and uptight, while the Zhang are more messy and laid back. So yes, they are exactly like Katara and Sokka, which we'll get to later. When the Ganjin arrive, the two tribes get in a fight because they don't want to go through the canyon together, and the guide can't decide who will go first since the Zhang have sick people and the Ganjin have elderly people. Getting tired of the arguing, Aang comes up with an idea.
Alright, here's the deal. You're all going down together and Appa here will fly your sick and elderly across. Does that seem fair?
Or you could have Appa fly everybody over in separate trips, but I mean it would take like 20 minutes by air, maybe 4 or 5, at maximum 6 trips. Be done in an hour or 2. The two tribes agree with Aang pretty quickly for two tribes who have been fighting for over 100 years, and after sending the sick and elderly off and making sure they don't have any food since it would attract dangerous animals, they head off.
Many of you are probably wondering how canyons are formed.
We don't care, just get us across the fucking canyon.
Why'd you do that?
These people are fleeing the Fire Nation, aren't they? Gotta make sure we can't be followed.
So yeah, don't bring food along, but destroying half a cliff with a giant rock making loud noises, that's perfectly fine. Actually, I'm right, because soon afterwards, the groups are attacked by a parasite from Cloverfield, but the three heroes manage to scare it away.
Your arms. They're broken.
Without my arms, I got no bending. In other words,
We're trapped in this canyon.
See, maybe using Appa was the much better idea. Hold on, don't you have a whistle to call Appa that you bought a few episodes ago? Wait a minute, can't you fly? This is a non-conflict. Just go and get Appa and come back and get everybody out. It's not that hard. After some more arguing, Aang decides to split the groups up, having Katara go with the Ganjin and Sokka go with the Zhang. Personally, I think it would be more interesting to see them go with the group that isn't like them, but whatever. Later that night, Katara and Sokka learn that each group has smuggled food into the canyon.
Well, I guess it's okay if everyone's doing it.
No, no, no. Katara would not say that. She would say, "You nearly got us killed. You should be ashamed of yourselves." So the two leaders tell Katara and Sokka about why the two tribes hated each other. To cut a long story short, the Ganjin say that their patriarch was taking their sacred orb from the Great Eastern Gate to the Great Western Gate to represent the sun rising and setting. But as he neared the end, he was tripped by a member of the Zhang tribe who stole the sacred orb.
You can never trust a Zhang.
The Zhang have their own story. According to them, the Zhang tribe members saw that the Jinwei member was actually fallen from, I don't know, exhaustion, he broke his leg, it's never explained. But the Zhang member agrees to take the orb to the gate. But as he gets there, he is stopped by the Jinwei and thrown in jail for 20 years.
We Zhangs will never forget that injustice.
Okay, to the episode's credit, I did like both those animation styles. I don't know how they end so differ me. I mean, if the Ganjin did throw somebody in jail, then they would clearly still have the orb. Oh god, my head hurts. After a boring scene with Aang and the guide, the group finally makes it to the end of the canyon.
But I need you all to put your heads together and figure out a way up this cliff.
Again, just fly up and get Appa. The two groups start arguing and Aang tries to calm them down, but that just leads to full-on violence as Aang is forced to break it up.
Is that food? Everyone smuggled food down here? Unbelievable!
But then a swarm of canyon crawlers come up and begin attacking the groups. We get a pretty decent action scene and Aang gets an idea about how to get out of the canyon. You know, instead of flying up and getting Appa.
Now follow me! We're riding out of this hole!
Okay, how is this happening? First, how the hell can they not break those bags with those mouths? And two, and this may not be true, I admit I'm not an expert in canyon crawler biology, but if their noses are covered in bags that have food in them, how the hell can they just smell that one small bag of food 40 feet away, when they should be smelling the food in the bags, or at least the scent that was left over? I don't know, but it gets them out of the canyon, and the two tribes learn to work together.
I never thought a Ganjin could get his hands dirty like that.
And I never knew you Zhangs were so reliable in a pinch.
Oh, so the show that wasn't about shoving morals down the audience's throats and just telling a story has now decided to sidetrack from the story to shove a moral down the audience's throats. But the two tribes still can't get along, so Aang is forced to tell them the story about what really happened.
First of all, Jin Wei and Wei Jin weren't enemies. They were brothers. Twins, in fact. And they were 8. And most importantly, they were just playing a game. Jin Wei had the ball and was running toward the goal when he fell and fumbled it. Wei Jin didn't steal the ball. He picked it up and started running it back toward the other goal. But he stepped out of bounds. So the official put him in the penalty box. Not for 20 long years, but for 2 short minutes.
Let us travel to the Earth Kingdom capital as one tribe.
Well, I guess this ending is kind of nice.
That's some luck you knew Jin Wei and Wei Jin.
You could call it luck. Or you could call it lying.
What?
What?
I made the whole thing up.
You did not. That is so wrong.
Yep, fuck unity through understanding. It's lying that really saves the day. And the second the two tribes find out you lied, it's gonna be a bloodbath. Aang goes to have the custard tart, which I guess he somehow hid from the sandcrawlers, and the episode ends. So tell me, what happened in this episode? Nothing? You mean to tell me that absolutely nothing happened in this episode? You can completely skip it and not miss a thing? Yeah, pretty much. This episode was just plain filler, and not particularly good filler either. It tries to show... You know what? I'm not even sure what the moral was. I mean, is it to share? Is it to not fight? Well, that would be a stupid moral for this show. Is it that we aren't that different? All these morals have good intentions, but they are ruined by a contrived plot, character inconsistencies, and a really bad ending. It has some funny moments, a few cool action scenes, and of course the animation is fantastic, but that doesn't stop this episode from easily being the worst of this series. Let's just say that for all the things Paramount made M. Night Shyamalan cut out of the live-action movie, this is one instance in which their meddling was for the better. Thankfully, the show got back on track very quickly and we got 3 awesome seasons and a kick-ass spinoff. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.